Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing this Orzhov skeleton list that Mythic Mike worked so hard to make infamous, and it definitely has one of the highest win rates for the effort put in, so that is obviously a big plus. This deck has a lot of very good attributes to it, and I call it the phone deck, for example, because you can just play your games insanely quick, almost faster than what Mono Red does, because you're going to know whether you win or lose pretty early into the game. If you kind of stumble and you draw a lot of lands, you're probably cooked. If you're on the play and you have the good 1, 2, and 3 curve out, you're probably winning. And the longest your games are going to go without you knowing whether you're winning or losing, or it's insanely close, is probably 4 minutes. That is a upside. For example, this video is as short as it is, and there are 10 games in this video, and there's not any time cut out other than one time an opponent left the match. So with that said, we're just going to dive in. The whole goal is to go fast. It's to play skeletons, use Corpse of the Lost as our primary card, use this to blow them out when we get there, and use Shelter by Ghost when needed to hopefully keep us alive in a lot of spots. But with that, let's go ahead and play. Got to hit record for a second, but we'll keep. And I guess I don't have a black mana right now. I guess this can always get haste on like turn 4. Yeah. Uh-huh. Cool. Go here. Will this stick? World may never know. I almost want to trade, but I'm not gonna. I have no reason to. You can trade if you want. That's got some ward on it. Not a lot I can do about it. Here. Could attack to get the worst creature out of the way, but against mono white, all the creatures are bad. Doesn't quite matter. But here I get to go corpse. Hopefully be aggressive. Their attack kind of tells us everything we want to know. They might not have a way to actually remove my scavenger, and they really need me to trade it. Sure. Alright. Well, let's see it. Here, 3-2. We're in. Right now, this only gives 1 counter. You have to be a bit worried because it is 7 points to their life total, and I swing back up to 18. Obviously, with a card like this, they can do a big chunk. Mono white being one of the better kind of budget decks that just wins a lot. The only other big downside is that if this hits another shelter for some reason, we can't exile the flyer, although they tap it, which is obviously good for us. Nowhere to Run would be a huge card, even though I think I put it on the bottom. Yeah. Crazy how things can come full circle sometimes. To being like the biggest mattering thing to it doesn't matter at all. And now, unfortunately, I think... Oh, wow. Those don't have haste, but they do have reach, so I can technically block the flyer, so that's pretty good. And this is going to get huge. We're going to attack. I kind of thought we were in trouble when that missed, because again, a shelter on this becomes everything for them, but we'll take it. The thing was, they were here. They were here instantly. They instantly queued, so they must have hit keep and then ran to do something. Okay. Familiar foe. I almost want to play the other scavenger, but I think this right now is technically better. And I will offer him a trade, and the reason I'm offering him a trade is because they lose their value off this. They take it, which is obviously fine. Like, obviously, they're okay with it. Oh, Samir. Nowhere to Run. They kind of do the same here. Okay. Let's go here. They're going to miss the counter, but we're going to make it impossible for us to miss the counter. Double strike this turn and double strike on a 2-1 that has, or a 3-1. Is this our +1/+1? No, it's +1. Oh. You can double strike this guy, put maybe a counter on it. Oh, yeah. All right, fair enough. I almost want to take this trade, but with the shelter, it seems unreasonable to do so. Pick that back up. That makes a ton of sense. Double strike here. It has menace, so I could just ensure that it does 8 points of damage here. Or no, it would be less than that. I could make it more. I guess I could just put it on my scavenger. Here. Little part of me wants to obviously play the shelter, but I think I can play that next turn, and hopefully my turn will be fine. Turn down. They put a counter on this. I didn't answer that. My hand, I'll actually decline this, unfortunately. Sure. 1-0. And shelter's good here. Like corpse and shocked, by the way. That's not horrifying at all. Okay. If I play this, is it lethal? 3, 6, yeah. What for lethal? I found lethal instead. Alright, cool. They didn't... No, they did have to shock. They didn't have 2 black, right? Look. Yeah, they had to shock. Wow. The mana base coming in unclutch for them as a shock and a land do this for this. One of the reasons I left this, because I just wanted... I wanted my buff and I wanted my aggro. This was going to be at minimum 12, and they're at 11 plus the 1 counter we got, so it's actually going to be 13. And we'll get there. Very sweet. Alright, well, I would assume I keep. A lot of mana, but we do play 4 drops that matter. Larger than makes fractal? Sure, it's just dies, right? Yeah. Supposed to be the Weaver first? I actually don't know. Maybe I guess the argument could be Nowhere to Run first. Oh. Okay. Oh wow, really? I thought they were gonna show me something. Gonna be nothing. Okay. Mono green creature with counter. You feel like you're gonna see something. That we see nothing. I'd much rather get this online over the corpse right now. Although maybe with the shelter by ghost, maybe I should just play corpse, play this, and then shelter. I'm playing so bad. Death touch, haste, ward, collect evidence 4. Weird ward costs always kind of just make me mad. They're so weird. Like now what do I do here? But the ward doesn't matter, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. Wait. I was like, I don't know. Weird ward costs are just always tough. Or grab our other creature, because obviously we don't want to overcommit here. Yeah, I mean, it's got a really, really good ward cost on it, because it's basically hexproof. But it just gets really weird when I'm just like, dude, please. Just an Ouroboros. Not going to be enough, I don't think. Let's give our lifelinker double strike. They have to block it, and then we get there. Okay. We'll definitely keep this. Turn 1, play a 2-drop. Or a 2-2. So 1 mana 2-2. Can't block. We'll lead into the Weaver. And we want to get this down, so the turn that we want to activate it, it'll obviously have our haste. Go Weaver. Against this matchup, I do potentially want to play around like not -1, but deal 1 damage to everything. Just kind of played a deck that prioritized that. Like that's what it is. Pyros, I believe. Definitely want to try to put the counter on the 2-1. They answer it. Still got to protect ourselves when it comes to that type of stuff. Here. Okay. Will I be able to make enough pressure? Unsure. It'll be a bit hard with 5 mana in my hand. What is the cost of fire magic? Is it 1 and 3 randomly to deal 2? I think so, but I don't think that that's what they're on. I think it's just 4 color. Helix is obviously going to be pretty brutal here. Try to target here. Lose it immediately. Maybe I should have targeted 2-1 to get value. Okay, very aggressive. Sure. Could have maybe sheltered that, but I would like to bring this up instead. Just see like a tap out on a stock up. No, a shock. Ill time explosion. Okay. Corpse of the Lost here is also a very good rip. Or even the 4 mana Collected Company for non-creatures. For whatever reason, the card is slipping my mind. That makes sense. Get rid of Erode. Yes, I'm aware it'll be tapped. Or we hit more mana. Okay. I guess do this. This taps. Back. It just... Inevitable Defeat gets around this, by the way, but Inevitable Defeat, I think, is non-land permanent, so it actually can't target this. As weird as that is. As totally weird as that is, they stock up here. Maybe looking for land Helix? Here's your opponent controls. Online, they play that tapped, sure. More mana, because why not? Corpse. To the corpse. Oh. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. But yeah, Inevitable Defeat is a destroy target non-land permanent. Can't be countered. Therefore, obviously, the non-land permanent. They could blow this up to gain life and then have hit this. But, I mean, we'll take the win. One of the craziest looking curves I have. We'll keep. I'm going to go ahead and shock this end because by the time we use Starting Town twice, it'll be the same amount of damage. And realistically, my hand curves in a way. Maybe I could have just started off this, not knowing what my matchup is, but okay. Starting Town obviously does damage. Anytime just gets through, we see a basic mountain. Don't know what that means. The 2-ish mountains, they do Slick Shot. That's dangerous. So we just have to hope we're not dead, I guess. Go here. For 9. And then now they have to have Pump Fling. And this is a bad card for that. Makes me think they're just more of the value type. Other corpse is going to make it a bit tough. Not playing the other one from the other pile seems a bit weird, right? Yeah. Attack me for 1 here. I think it's corpse. That's them to 1. This is unblockable. Actually, because of the unblockable one, I think I get there. Yeah, because this can't be blocked by 2 creatures. That's what Suspect is. So it has Menace. Therefore, they're not going to be able to block it when we get there. Wow. Weird one, I guess. Anytime you see a plotted slick shot and do nothing, you just... Thankfully, we're on the play, I guess. Honestly, if it was the reverse, we'd probably lose. You can maybe hold off on the Godless Shrine. Maybe. Cool. Oh, really good hit. Allows us to kind of commit to the board without really committing. Because, like, doing a shelter is a bit aggressive. Playing ethereal armor is obviously a bit aggressive. Blue-black. We're going to deceit me. No. Oh, they just let it happen. Okay. Combat. Could hit him with like a nowhere to run here. They have like a flash creature. Be a bitter triumph. Pass. I feel like my hand's just as explosive next turn as it would be that turn. Okay. Oh. Sure. However, if they tap out and play this Awaken, which is really, really likely, the Shelter, Double Strike into Ethereal Armor should be enough. Should be pretty close. Actually, it's what, +2, +3 at 5? So it's actually not enough. Be at 1. Fair enough. You're playing, boss. They have nothing in their graveyard, by the way. Oh, wait, no, it is enough. Because this. Especially now. Because I can play it on this board, and it would give me one more enchantment for Ethereal Armor. Well, thankfully I didn't miss it. That would have been bad. Play this anyway. Obviously it doesn't answer this. But... fair, I guess that would do it as well. Double strike there. Do a shelter. Take this away. Then we Ethereal Armor. Once again, getting rewarded for just being on the play. Obviously, it's one extra here. Maybe it was enough anyway. No, I put it on the 3-2. I just thought maybe they were going to answer the bigger creature because of double strike. So I was thinking off the 2-2 because of the Wake in the Woods. That's why. All right. Unfortunately, I had to concede my last game because I kept on accident. I look over at my monitor over here. That's why you see me look over a lot, because I'm checking to make sure everything's fine. 99% of the time is what I'm doing. But what I accidentally did while I was over there is I clicked my mouse because I just saw the cursor on that screen. And I wanted to click something on my right screen. And I kept my hand. It was 4 lands and 3 1-drop creatures. And 2 of them being this with no enchantments. And then I drew a 5th land off the top, as is tradition to do whenever you have those type of hands. So it feels like I'm just supposed to hit this thing in the mouth and not let it do anything. I also kind of wanted Ethereal Armor, but I guess just remove the cub. Could remove this, I guess. But I want the cub out of here. I want to hit them for 3. And since, of course, the last game resulted in me having 5 mana in my hand, I'm only going to have 2 mana for like 2 more turns, and then I'll draw the 3rd land. And hopefully by that point I haven't lost. At least sometimes that's how it works. Sometimes. The best one, this opponent could definitely be playing Shelter by Ghost. It's always a card you have to worry about when you're playing an aggro deck, right? Oh, wow, I hit and land. Crazy. I was not prepared for that. Let's jam. Oh, stick here. Honestly, I feel like a block's going to have to come. I don't think they can just agree to 7 damage. Then what, like Ouroboros maybe? Turn, and they hope it stays. Problem is, I really want to rip a land to play this, although it's a really good follow-up play. Although Ouroboros probably has to block, but it'll be at 4 toughness. Oh. Admiral Cub. That's interesting. Because my thing about this Badgermole Cub is it's not going to not be able to block. Every fiber of my being wants to jam this card, but I know it's incorrect. It's just play this. Load my counters across the board. And then on my unblockable creature, do this. And take my guaranteed 9 damage. We could hold priority and change the stack so this creature would enter first, because this and that are both ETBs. Have this get made and then it put both counters there, but the fact it wasn't going to change the lethal at all, I wasn't worried about it too much. Maybe I should have been, but they don't really play pain lands. I mean, I guess playing green and white, maybe I want to play around a Temple Garden, put them 1 extra. Maybe I should have. But my opponent may be gone. It's definitely possible. Double Badgermole Cub not being enough. That's the downside of being on the draw, and we'll just out, I guess. Okay. Do we get there? It kind of auto went, and I was like, wait, why didn't they lose whenever I hit him? I was like, oh yeah, first strike, of course. That will do it. So, yeah. Wait, holy, going first. I don't even know what to do with all this power. But we'll keep. So this is a great example if you're playing an aggro deck. I'm sorry, opponent. You're going to have to wait a second. I mean, I can just take my turn 1. This is a great example of when playing this deck, when to shock this in and when not to shock this in. So this is colorless, obviously. And using this would have to be tapped to take damage for a white, of course, to do this. And then it would have to be tapped for black to play this. Or we'd have to shock and take 3 damage instead of 2. So either way, you're going to take 2 damage. So you might as well just shock this in if you're going to have to anyway. You're not guaranteed to ever draw lands, right? So take the value while you can. We have 2 corpses, so we're automatically jamming. I don't care if there's a counter spell here. I'm going to jam another one. It might be a Flood Pitch Drowner. So I'm going to grow this. This has Menace, so sure. The skeletons are scary enough on their own. Put them to 12. I do not want to pick this up. I have one in my hand, and I would prefer the haste off of it anyway. They are Esper? They gotta be 4 color, right? Yeah. We're not hip enough to play Esper anymore. This day and age. Well, I didn't counter before. I'm not trusting them to counter again. This is also a lethal play if they don't have removal. They have a second long goodbye. Here's 8 damage. Then just rip a land, jam. A Judgment probably. If I had to guess. No, it's just not enough. Alright. This game took a total of 2 minutes. My intro was longer than this game, and my intros are typically pretty quick. So stick. Opponent first. Eventually it was going to happen. We were pretty fortunate with being constantly on the play. A mulligan from them. So obviously it's going to be good. We'll lead off with obviously our courtyard. Again, if I draw 2 of these in a row after doing this, then so be it. Fire Scavenger. Nowhere to Run is going to be pretty good on this follow-up play. You could argue that we can do this to set up. But I'm just going to go for removing their creature that does a ton of damage. Okay. So it'll make a card more expensive. I guess my case can... Actually, a land can just come in tapped later. Like, that's fine. No blocks. Sure. Will do, Captain. Kind of figured. We weren't going to be nice enough to do that any other way. Play the starting town. It was so weird here. Play this. Through here. A little part of me wanted to play this and maybe get value off that creature, but then they grow this and then have a pump spell, and it just gets really weird. Well, the difference between play and draw is kind of showing, I think. Well, go land here. Go Weaver now. Play the Forsaken Miner. A Shelter by Ghost also changes this game pretty drastically, in my opinion. It's kind of what Shelter's, I mean, exact description is countered this deck. But obviously we have to draw it. We don't always draw it. Can't always talk about it. They can pump this and any prowess is good. So we just take the 1-for-1 trade. They seem to be okay with that. They plot a Slick Shot. Okay. Well, can I live? One-ish card in hand. So, update. We're gonna go. We're just going to go full bore here and just hope it's enough. Double Strike coming up. Potentially good cards. Hopefully they rip the land. They do. Play the Slick Shot. Target the challenger. Hope it's bad. Hope it's air. Maybe they'll play a bit more passive here. Hope it's air. All I got. Potentially it could have been a sorcery. Seems kind of wild. At 3 toughness, obviously I'm gonna target here. 3, 6, 9. Just not enough. Jam this. Holy cow. This into this is enough though. That's for sure. Unless it's Helix, obviously. Then we're on top deck mode. Yeah, it's exactly Helix. Alright, we're on top deck. Let's do. What do they draw here? We decline all this. No extra damage. Do you hit? Wow. Wow. They take themselves out. That is a stressful game of all stressful games if I was to see a stressful game. So yeah, sure, we'll take that. We'll keep. This is not a lot of 1-drops that I'll be too upset about have kept. That I'll be too upset that we kept. Birds are tough. They're hard. Play a tap land. Play a Seam Rip. I think we just lost. And no. We do need a land pretty bad though. I'm going to be mana efficient and just jam this kind of all in. I don't really want to try to play it next turn. If I lose it, I lose it. It is what it is. Hard blue-white. Not an archetype that I'm really keen to play around a ton. Most of the lists are going to be Just Guy. Playing blue-white just a bit weird. Maybe not weird. Maybe that's not the word. I don't know how to... Blue-white right now seems like the bad choice. Oh. It's... Dang. I thought it was blue-white control, which does change my thought process here. They're going to tuck here, though. This is what they're going to do. They're going to hit me for 2, and then they're going to tuck. At least I would assume. At least I assume it's Ang. I actually just don't know. Sure. And they tuck. Is like obviously a bit brutal. No More Lives is a card that could come into play here. And I'm just jamming these every turn forever. Play another Drowner. Okay. They can stun and then block, which would be a good value play for them. They might have to still just take 4. Kind of the way that works out. But obviously, I'm swinging, I think. Block. Take the damage. Fair enough. They pay to tuck this. It's really confusing why they didn't just block. Okay. Unless they cared about the damage that much. Man. Once again. How many times can we do this? A little part of me wanted to shelter. But... Oh my... It's literally 3 for 3. Nice. What a combo we're playing. Dude, what if it's shuffling back to the top? That'd be so funny. Arena's infinitely glitching them. And again, we go for a strike and then a tuck. The thing is if they just block, the creature stays stunned and they kept it gone anyway, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, it couldn't be the top card because they keep shuffling it away on their turn. I don't know. It feels like weird plays, but you know, who am I to say? We rage, we tap out. Might as well tuck it. Like, you just might as well. What do they do here? They just remove this? Oh, that's actually huge. That's huge. Might just win us the game. Oh, maybe it will. Here's 10. The Road, showing why it is not the greatest card of all time. It's so weird because when it's good, it's good. But man, I could have just missed a land and that game would have been in their favor and we would have had nothing to do. And instead, even the small percentages gave me another one of these, which obviously is really good for us. But they gave me the land guaranteed. I was guaranteed able to cast this. Obviously, if they had Spell Pierce, that would have been a much better thing for them. But a weird one. I mean, that's 10 games down. Don't have much else to say other than that, so I'm gonna call it there. The analytics tell me that the outros are immediately clicked off of for the most part. Obviously, there's some that watch it, but if they're all gonna be clicked off of, and the retention gets hurt because of that, so I'm gonna just end up cutting them, and I'm just gonna say bye on the last game. So I hope you all enjoyed the videos today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.